You wake before dawn to the sound of voices outside your house. Not many, just 2, but they don't belong. You sit up. The room is still dark, lit only by the red flicker of last night's coals. You hear your mother whispering. Her voice sounds strange, wet, like someone trying to speak through grief. You stand slowly, feet bare against the hard-packed floor, and move toward the door. She doesn't see you at first. She kneels beside the threshold, head bowed, hands pressed together. Not in prayer, in pleading. 2 men stand across from her, tall, wrapped in heavy linen robes. Gold bands gleam on their wrists. Their heads are shaved smooth. One carries a staff with a lioness carved into its tip. The other holds nothing. But his silence feels heavier. They see you before your mother does. The one with the staff turns and gestures toward you without speaking. Your mother gasps, not in surprise, in surrender. Like she knew this day was coming and hoped it never would. She stands and turns toward you. Tears stream down her face, but she doesn't try to stop them. You have been chosen, she says. You don't understand. She kneels and places her hands on your shoulders. Her palms tremble. You've never seen her afraid of anything. They've come from Thebes, she whispers, from the house of Sekhmet. You've heard the name before, everyone has. Sekhmet, the lion-headed goddess, the Eye of Ra, the one who devours. Her priests are healers and executioners. People speak their name with the same breath they use for plagues. You want to ask why. Why you? Why now? But the words don't come. The man with the staff steps forward and hands your mother a strip of folded papyrus. She doesn't open it. She just nods and places it inside her robe. Then she reaches for your face. She presses her forehead to yours. You feel her breath on your cheek. It's shallow. I'm sorry, she says. The other man takes your arm. You don't fight. You don't speak. You just follow. Outside, the sun hasn't yet risen, but the sky is grey and waiting. A narrow chariot stands on the road. Its wheels are coated with sand. 2 black horses stomp and snort, annoyed at the cold. They lift you inside without ceremony. The wood creaks under your weight. As the wheels begin to turn, you look back. Your mother stands in the doorway. She does not wave. She does not smile. She just watches. And you begin the journey to Thebes, to the house of Sekhmet, to something you cannot yet name. The journey takes 2 days. You travel without speaking. The priests don't ask your name. They don't tell you theirs. They eat when the sun reaches its peak. They sleep when the stars appear. You follow without question. You reach Thebes just after dusk. The city rises from the desert like something carved from bone. White walls, flat roofs, smoke curling from quiet fires. But you don't stop there. The chariot turns toward the cliffs, toward the Nile, toward the edge of what people call holy. That's where the temple stands. You first see it by torchlight. Its walls are taller than any house, smooth, colourless, no banners, no carvings, no welcoming arch, just stone stacked like judgment. The gate opens inward without sound. You pass beneath it and feel the air change. It's colder inside, not from shade, from silence. Even the wind seems to stop at the threshold. The priest leads you into a courtyard. 4 other boys wait there, all younger, all barefoot. One shivers though the night is warm. No one speaks. A 5th priest appears. His robe is darker, his head bowed. He carries a clay bowl and a long bronze blade. You're ordered to kneel. You do. One by one, they shave your head. The blade scrapes across your scalp, rough and dry. No oil, no water. Blood beads on your skin. You grit your teeth. Say nothing. Next, they cut your clothes from your body. Everything. Gone. You're given a plain white linen wrap and nothing else. The cloth smells of salt and something older. Ash, maybe. Or dried herbs left too long in the sun. Then comes the final part. The priest with the clay bowl dips his fingers into a thick black paste and smears a line across your brow. It burns. You flinch. He looks into your eyes for the first time. You're no longer who you were, he says. Your name has been removed. You want to ask what you're called now. He answers before you can speak. You're not to speak. He holds up his hand, 4 fingers bent, thumb extended. 30 days, no words, no sound. You're in the house of Sekhmet now, and Sekhmet hears everything. They take you through another corridor, down steps carved from the rock itself. The air thickens. You smell incense, oil, old stone. They lead you to a cell, just wide enough to lie down, a stone bench, a water bowl, nothing else. The door shuts, and you are alone. The silence hums. Time moves like dust settling. On the 3rd day you begin to feel it. The sound beneath the silence, not voices, not whispers, a pressure, like the temple itself is watching. On the 7th day, another initiate breaks. You don't see it, but you hear the footsteps. The door slamming, the quiet that follows. By the 30th day, you forget what your own voice sounds like. That's when they come for you. You're taken to the inner sanctum, where the walls are covered in gold leaf and obsidian. Torches flicker, but make no heat. The high priest waits at the far end. He wears robes so fine they shimmer like wet skin. His face is painted, not like the gods, but like a corpse. He says nothing at first, then he lifts one hand and points. You stayed silent, he says. His voice is flat, unreadable, like something echoing up from deep water. You will stay. Then he turns and disappears behind a curtain, and your training begins. The lessons begin before the bruises fade. Each morning a narrow bell rings. You wake, wrap your linen, kneel outside your cell. No one speaks. A priest appears and leads you down a hall lined with statues. Not of gods, of former priests. Men whose names are never spoken, whose eyes are painted to watch forever. You're taken to the chamber of knowing. There, stone tables hold tablets etched with star maps, sacred names, diagrams of the human body and the divine soul. You're taught to read not with words, but with gestures. A line of stars traced by a finger means a season. A circle drawn in sand means death. Nothing is written aloud. Every lesson is memorized in silence. Mistakes are punished. Not with rage, never with shouting, just the staff. A quick strike to the ribs, a split lip, a knuckle twisted until it pops. The priests who punish you never smile, never flinch. They strike as if performing a duty, sacred, exact, beyond emotion. You learn quickly, because pain leaves sharper lessons than fear. After a week, they begin teaching you the power of blood. It starts with animals, small ones, birds mostly. You're taught to hold them gently, not with care, but with precision. One priest guides your hand, slow, exact. You slit the throat along a line marked with red dye. You hold the wings as they flutter. You watch the blood collect in the bowl. The first time, your hands shake. You flinch when the body jerks. You think of the birds from your village, how they sang in the trees after rain. You never hear birds in this place. By the 3rd time, your grip no longer trembles. You're told the blood carries the spirit, that offering it releases both power and clarity, that gods require purity, and purity comes through pain. Then they bring the knife to you. No warning. A priest kneels beside you, hands you a blade no bigger than a finger. He points to your forearm. You hesitate. He doesn't move. You cut. Not deep, just enough to let the blood rise. He nods once, takes the blade back. From that day on you bleed every 7th day. Sometimes alone, sometimes as part of a group. The priests mark the walls with your blood, symbols that change with the moon, lines that shift each season. You don't know what they mean, you're not meant to. Then comes the first true rite, the Veil of Wounds. It takes place in the lower chamber. Torches line the walls. The air smells of burnt herbs and iron. You and 4 others kneel in a circle, robes removed, skin bare. A high priest walks the circle holding a long reed dipped in red ink. He draws lines on your bodies, across the chest, down the back, around the ankles. These are the paths. You're handed small flint blades. You're told to trace the marks, slowly, without sound. One boy faints. He's dragged from the room. The rest continue. You feel your skin split and something deeper open. Not just pain, clarity. The room spins, the torches blur. You hear something, not outside, but within. When it ends, you're bandaged in silence, laid on cool stone. No word spoken. You do not cry. You do not scream. You understand now. Purity is not about clean hands. It's about sacrifice. They don't tell you when the right is coming. They only say to watch the sky. On the night of the full moon, a priest appears in your doorway. He doesn't speak. He points to the linen wrap at your feet, then turns and walks away. You dress quickly and follow, barefoot through cold corridors and open courtyards. The air smells different tonight. Not incense, something thicker, bitter, sharp enough to sting your eyes. They take you beyond the temple walls. The desert waits, quiet and wide. Sand stretches out in all directions, black under moonlight. You see no torches, no fire, only the glowing disk overhead, high and pale and perfect. 5 others stand waiting, all initiates, all silent. Then the priests begin the preparation. They bring out a clay jar and smear your chest with a dark paste that smells like vinegar and ash. They press amulets into your hands, small, rough, carved from bone, each one different, none explained. You're told to hold it tight. Then you inhale. They light a brazier filled with herbs you don't recognize. The smoke curls into your nose, your mouth, your lungs. It burns. Your heartbeat slows. Your body begins to feel far away. The hallucinations start as whispers. You hear someone behind you, then beside you, but when you turn, no one is there. Then the ground moves, not violently, just enough to make you question your footing, like the desert itself is breathing. The priests lead you to the sand pits, shallow hollows carved into the dunes, just wide enough for a body. They order you to lie down. You obey. They bury you up to the neck. Warm sand presses against your chest, your legs, your arms. You can't move. You can only see the moon above, round and white, watching. Then the priests walk away, and the night begins. You're told to stay awake. If you sleep, the spirits will enter. That's what they say. But they don't tell you what happens if they do. Only that no one returns the same. The hours stretch. The smoke still clings to your mind. Time blurs. The sky shifts. But you don't trust your eyes. At one point, you think you see a figure walking between the pits, barefoot, eyes black and lidless. It doesn't speak. It leans toward you. You close your eyes and pray without sound. Another boy sobs quietly. Then silence. You don't know if he fainted or fell asleep. You don't call out. You don't move. You keep your eyes on the moon. When morning comes, the priests return. They dig you out without ceremony. No words, no comfort. They wipe the sand from your eyes, hand you water that tastes like copper, and point back to the temple. One pit is never reopened. No one speaks of it. The boy is gone. They call it the purge, a ritual to cleanse weakness. You feel nothing afterward. No pride, no relief, just the weight of survival and the unspoken knowledge. The temple doesn't want believers. It wants endurance. The first time you see the mask room, you don't understand what you're looking at. It's built like a shrine. High ceiling, narrow walls, everything cast in shadow. Dozens of wooden heads sit on pedestals, arranged in a perfect circle. Some are plain, others are gilded, painted in bright reds and black resin. The air smells of resin, beeswax, and something older. Animal hide, sweat soaked deep into linen. A priest enters carrying a mask draped in silk. He stands before you and says, The god requires form. You will give it. That's the only explanation. Your training begins. Each day you're handed a different mask. You don't choose it. One day you wear the snarling lioness of Sekhmet, furrowed brows, teeth bared. Another day it's the calm face of Thoth, the ibis, wise and long-nosed. Sometimes you carry the jackal grin of Anubis, or the gold-painted falcon of Horus. You must learn to move as each god would move. Sekhmet walks like fire, slow, wide steps that command space. Thoth gestures with fingers curved like feathers. Anubis glides. Horus stands so still he seems part of the stone. You must learn their voices too, though you speak only during rites. Sekhmet's is low and sharp. Thoth's is distant. Horus says almost nothing. You are corrected without words. A priest watches you and, if displeased, strikes your shin with a reed. No anger, just instruction. The masks are heavy. Some have stone inlays. Some press tight against the face, suffocating. Others smell of rot. You wear them for hours until your vision blurs and your skin beneath is soaked. But you're not allowed to remove them. Not during training, not during meals, not even during punishment. One day, another boy, older than you, proud, refuses an order during a rite. He stands defiant in the mask of Horus, golden, radiant, shining in the morning light. A priest responds with silence, then gestures to the enforcers. The boy is taken to the whipping post, but the mask stays on. They strip his robe, tie his arms, and lash him until his back splits and blood hits the floor. He screams through the beak of Horus. The god watches through him, unmoved. You kneel nearby, still in your own mask, the jackal. You do not blink. You understand then. The mask is not for protection, not for honor, is not even for you. The mask protects the ritual. The person behind it doesn't matter. You stop thinking of yourself as you during rites. You let the weight of the mask carry you. The face you wear becomes the body you must inhabit. Your fingers move as theirs would. Your breath slows to their rhythm. You disappear. That's what they want. The priest is not a man in a mask. He is a god in waiting, and gods do not cry out when beaten. They come for you without warning. 3 priests in full robes, one carries a cloth, the others hold ropes. You say nothing. You've learned not to ask. They blindfold you before you leave your cell. The linen smells of ash. Tight around the head. Darkness seals in. They lead you down stone steps you've never walked before. Each turn descends deeper. The air changes. Cooler at first, then heavy, then warm. By the time you reach the final step, you're sweating. You hear a door open. The scrape of wood against stone. Then silence. They place your hands on the wall. 7 days, someone says behind you. No speech, no sound, no movement without purpose. Then nothing. You hear the door close. The darkness becomes total. This is the first part of the rite, the silence. You do not move from your place. You feel the stone wall under your palms. You press your forehead to it. You count your breaths. The hours stretch. You lose track of time by the 2nd day. You eat only when someone places a bowl at your feet. Porridge. Bitter. Cold. You drink from a vessel placed by your knee. You sleep in pieces, back against the wall, knees to your chest. You dream, but forget them before waking. You don't speak, not even to yourself. Your thoughts grow thin. Your name feels foreign. By the 6th day, you no longer count. You float in silence. No fear, no memory. Just breathe. On the 7th day, the door opens. Footsteps. Hands grip your arms. You do not resist. They guide you through a new corridor, hot, thick with smoke. Your lungs tighten. The blindfold stays on. You smell burning cedar, dried myrrh, sulphur. You've reached the fire passage. A voice speaks behind your ear. You will walk forward. You will retrieve the stone. If you return without it, you do not return. They place something in your hand, a cloth pouch, empty. Then they push you forward. You move blindly. One hand on the wall, the other stretched in front. Heat surrounds you. The tunnel narrows. You stumble. The floor rises, then dips. Ash under your feet. Something sharp cuts your toe. You bleed. You keep walking. The heat intensifies. Your throat closes. Your skin burns. Not flame, but the weight of air. You reach an opening. You drop to your knees and crawl. Inside, the heat pulses, like something alive. You feel objects on the ground. Bones, maybe. Stones. Metal. You reach farther. Your fingers close on something smooth, cold, round. The stone. Flat on one side, heavy, carved with symbols. You slip it into the pouch. Then you turn back. But the tunnel is different now. Longer. Angled. You lose the wall. You crawl in circles. You cough once, then bite your lip. You taste blood. You tell yourself, forward. You stop thinking. You move on instinct. Elbow, knee, hand, knee. The floor turns to gravel, then tile, then silence. Cool hands lift you. The blindfold is removed. You blink into the torchlight. Everything blurs. A priest takes the pouch, open it, nods once. You passed, he says. Another boy kneels beside you coughing. His pouch is empty. They do not speak to him. He is led away. You never see him again. Your robe is replaced. Your bandages are renewed. You sleep in a better cell now. Clean floor, thicker cloth. But you know comfort is not kindness. It's a reward. You have endured the trial of silence and fire. You're almost ready. The day after the trial, you're taken to the healing chamber. At first, it looks no different than the others. Smooth stone, low ceilings, walls lined with jars and linen-wrapped bundles. But the smell is different. Not incense, not blood. It's sharper, metallic, like iron mixed with rot. Sekhmet is the goddess of healing. That's what they say. But only those who understand pain can wield her breath. Your new teacher is old. His voice is quiet, but nothing in it wavers. His hands are steady. His robe stained near the cuffs. He gestures for you to watch. A man lies on the table, not a priest. A farmer, maybe. Thin. Eyes half closed. A boil swells on his thigh, red and hot. The priest doesn't speak to the man. He doesn't ask questions. He lifts a stone rod from the coals and presses it into the boil. The hiss fills the room. The man doesn't scream. He seizes, shakes, then goes still. The priest removes the stone, wipes the wound with linen soaked in vinegar and nods. He turns to you, hands you the next stone. Your hand trembles. He says nothing. You press. The flesh gives way. Fluid rises. You feel it burst beneath the stone like crushed fruit. The smell is awful. The heat passes through the handle and into your palm. The man groans but doesn't move. Later, you're told this is how Sekhmet heals, through cleansing fire, through blood, through destruction of corruption. You begin to learn the other rites, how to draw sickness from the belly by cutting a circle with a copper blade, how to drain the bad humours by slicing a thin line behind the ear, how to make a man vomit using a mixture of bile and honey, how to starve a fever, how to bleed a cough, how to burn away madness. Some of it works. You see people recover, limp in, walk out. You see wounds close, coughs quiet, eyes regain clarity. But you also see the other kind, the ones who never rise from the table, the child with the twisted foot who dies after the third leeching, the woman whose head wound is scraped until the bone shows, the old man who cannot stop shaking after his soul is pulled through the spine. When they die, the priests say nothing. The ritual was performed. The failure is not theirs. You understand now why villagers fear the priests more than they fear plague. Because healing here does not look like mercy. It looks like punishment. Every cure is an ordeal. You learn to move your hands as your teacher does, to work quickly, to press hard, to ignore the screams, not because you lack compassion, but because the ritual demands your full attention. You're told this is Sekhmet's breath. Heat, pain, release. You breathe it in. You carry it with you. The door to the catacombs is carved into the floor of the inner sanctum. No guards, no symbols. Just a stone slab you're told never to touch until summoned. Then one night they call your name. You descend alone. The air is thick with dust. Not the kind that comes from neglect, but the kind that clings to things too old to name. The walls are lined with niches. Inside each a wrapped figure lies still. Linen yellowed with time. Resin hardened like stone. They call it the chamber of the dead, but it breathes. Slow, hot, quiet. You carry no torch. The hallway turns, then opens. A round chamber waits below, lit by a single brazier at its centre. It throws long shadows. They stretch across the faces of the dead. Dozens of them, maybe more. Some are nobles, some priests. Some wear amulets still gleaming with gold leaf. None bear names. Those were stripped long ago. The priest gestures to the floor. You lie between two coffins. Your mat is straw. Your blanket is the robe you wore down. He says only one thing. Breathe slowly and listen. Then he vanishes up the stairs. The slab closes. You're left alone. The silence is worse than any scream. At first, your thoughts echo too loud. You hear your own breath, your own pulse. Your mind replays the rites, the fire, the blood, the mask. You try to sleep, but the dust won't let you. It enters your nose, your throat, your lungs. It tastes like dried bones and myrrh. You feel it coat your tongue. You feel it press into your pores. Then the whispers begin. Faint, like wind through a slit in stone. But there's no wind here. You open your eyes. Nothing moves. Still, you hear them. Not words, tones, shapes. A mother's song, maybe. A command whispered in a forgotten dialect. A prayer meant only for the dead. You don't know if it's memory or madness. You try to sit up, but your body doesn't respond. It's heavy, pressed into the floor. The brazier seems farther away now, flickering less. The light feels old. You can't tell if hours pass or days. Someone screams, not far. One of the others, in another tunnel. The voice is young, raw. It doesn't last long. You do not call out. You do not move. You breathe and listen. On the third night, you see something. A shadow walks the edge of the chamber. No feet, no face, just movement. It does not speak. It does not stop. It circles once, then fades. You feel your heart slow, not from fear, from acceptance. By morning the slab opens, light blinds you. The priest says nothing. He lifts you by the arm, studies your face, then nods once. You're led back to the upper floors. Others do not return. Their names are not erased. They are not cursed. They are simply removed from the ledger. You do not ask what you saw. You do not ask what you became. You only know this. The dead do not rest beneath this temple. They watch, and they remember. You're summoned before dawn. The air is cold, the stone damp. You feel it under your feet as you walk, alone toward the inner sanctum. No priest meets you. No instructions are given. Only a path of oil lamps lighting the way forward, one flame at a time. You've seen the altar before. Once, years ago, you stood at the threshold and were told never to cross it unless commanded. Now the doors are open, you pass through. The room is circular, high-ceilinged, silent. At the centre stands a basin carved from black granite. The rim is stained dark. Old marks, dried pigment, something that was once alive. Beside it, resting on a cushion of linen, lies a hooked blade. Small, precise, curved like the tooth of a lioness. The walls bear no inscriptions. No one speaks. You kneel. You already know what this is. The offering without eyes. It's the final rite. The one spoken of only in fragments. A surrender so complete, it becomes an identity. You've heard rumours of priests who walk through the temple guided by sound alone. Who listens better than they once saw. Who say nothing, not even in dreams. Not every priest is chosen. Only one every generation. Today it's you. This is not a reward, not ascension, it is obedience. A senior priest enters, his face unreadable. He kneels beside you. He doesn't ask if you're ready. That would be kindness, and this is not a place for kindness. He removes your robe, tips a cloth into the basin, wipe your face clean, then he speaks, just once. Sekhmet sees through you now. You lie back. The ceiling spins above you. A single oil lamp sways from a chain. You fix your gaze on it. Let your breath slow. The priest takes the blade. There is no chant, no drums, no crowd, only metal. The pain is clean. Your body jerks once, but you don't cry out. You are trained for silence. You keep still as your world goes dark. The second eye follows. The knife is careful, sharp. The warmth that runs down your cheeks feels like tears, but it isn't. You feel the cloth press over your face, bound tight. You hear nothing but breath, your own, steady and small. When it's done, they leave you, alone. You lie still, no light, no time. You listen, and something answers. Not a voice, not language, a presence, not gentle, not cruel, just certain. When they return, your face is wrapped in white gauze. You rise slowly and take the staff they place in your hand, not to walk with, but to hold. A symbol now, not of power, of surrender. You're led through the halls. You don't stumble. You know the way. No one greets you. No one cheers. There is no ceremony, no witness, because those who give everything expect nothing in return. And Sekhmet accepts in silence. You walk now without sound. Your feet know the path. The temple opens before you, not with doors, but with breath. Walls that remember your steps, stones warmed by years of waiting. Your eyes are gone, but your sight has never been clearer. You are a priest of Sekhmet, fully formed, unquestioned. The villagers hear of your presence before you arrive. Word travels faster than horses. Children are pulled inside, doors closed, faces vanish behind wooden shutters. Only the wind remains to greet you. You walk through the village square. No one meets your gaze, though you have none to give. They lower their heads, press their palms together, and murmur prayers as if trying to hold back plague with breath alone. They do not ask for blessings. They do not offer gifts. They simply stay out of your way. Even the royal court keeps its distance. Pharaoh sends envoys, not invitations. His scribes write in careful language, always folded in layers of ritual. Requests are whispered. Nothing is demanded, because your presence carries consequence. When you visit a noble's house, the servants clear the halls. You don't have to speak. Your silence does the work. They understand what it means when the lioness walks among men. You no longer explain your rights. A sick child is brought to you, thin, fevered, barely breathing. You press hot stones to her stomach. The skin bubbles. She screams until her voice breaks. Her mother tries to reach her, but guards pull her back. You do not stop. You chant under your breath. You cut a line behind the girl's ear, catch the blood in a bronze bowl, mix it with herbs and ash, and press the mixture beneath her tongue. She sleeps, then wakes, alive, healed. The mother drops to her knees, weeping. She doesn't thank you. She only watches as you turn and leave, robes heavy with the scent of fire and sweat. Not all survive. And when they don't, the families say nothing. No complaints, no curses. They bury their dead and sweep the floors in silence. Because they know healing is a kind of violence, and you carry it with care. In marketplaces, people step aside before you speak. The crowd splits like the Nile. You feel their eyes on you, not in curiosity, in terror. You're not seen as human. You're something else now, something shaped by the gods, refined by pain, cloaked in ritual. You are the fear that keeps cities clean, the silence that follows plague, the hand that takes what must be taken. You carry no blade, You need none. He stands where you once stood, barefoot, shaved, eyes wide but unblinking. A thin line of dried blood traces his cheek where the razor slipped. He doesn't cry. He just stares ahead, breathing in tight, shallow bursts like he's trying not to be noticed by his own fear. He's smaller than you were. His linen wrap hangs off his shoulder, his knees shake. You see a smear of dirt along his collarbone, probably from the cart ride in, the kind that doesn't come off with water, the kind that clings because it remembers home. He hasn't spoken since he arrived. The priest brought him at dusk. No one told him why. No one told him his name was already gone. He was marched through the gate, through the silence, through the halls where the walls lean in like listening gods. They placed him at the entrance of the training quarters and left. Now he waits, and you are the one they send. You walk down the corridor, staff in hand, sandals silent on polished stone. The torches flicker against your robes. The air changes when you enter. He feels it. His head tilts just slightly, not in defiance, not in understanding, just instinct. A creature sensing something ancient moving in the dark. You stop in front of him. He doesn't bow, not out of disrespect. He's forgotten how to move. He looks up. Your face is veiled, as always. Eyes gone. The cloth white. The mask of silence drawn in black. He doesn't know what you are. Only that the others stepped away when you approached. Only that the air grew heavier. Only that no one else would look at him. But you do, though you cannot see. He waits. You remember that stillness. You remember the weight of not knowing which part of you will be taken first. You stand there for a moment, long enough to let it settle. Then, for the first time in years, you speak. Only one sentence, software precise. Do not lose yourself too quickly. His lip trembles. You do not wait for a reply. You turn and walk away. The torches crackle behind you. The stone cools beneath your steps. The silence reclaims the space. You do not look back. There's no need. The temple will shape him. The rituals will take what they want. The fear will settle into his bones like it did yours. But now he knows something you didn't. He knows someone else survived. And sometimes that's enough.